There has been this talk of disc rot since the 90s. I remember the first time I ever heard it, I was a teenager. I was just starting to buy CDs, and it's one of those things that just like, oh no, is this going to happen to my collection? And I'll tell you, in over the 25 years of buying movies on disc format and even longer for CDs, never really put in storage, temperature changes between heat and humidity and cold and dampness. Like none of that stuff has really ever touched my discs. So I've never had that experience. Many people have. It's been talked about pretty much since I heard about it in the 90s. It's been on the tip of people's tongues when you talk about physical media collections. I started getting into collecting HD DVDs. It's a format that I completely missed out on. When the format war was around, I only went to Blu-ray because I had the PlayStation 3. Having missed out on that format originally, I never experienced this. Apparently, with the Warner Brothers titles, they use cheaper quality discs, and out in the wild, most people that come across Warner Brothers discs, they almost are all unplayable. Disc rot issues. When I worked at Circuit City, I remember seeing these HTPCs or home theater PC usually had these media center remotes. This right here was something that I thought was cool, but I was always a physical media guy. I liked the movies. I liked having them. I liked that experience that you had at the video rental store. You go to your shelf, you pick out the movie, you physically have it in your hand. Even though I thought the media center was cool, it was something that I never really did. Last year, I found this HD DVD here, Dukes of Hazzard. Now, this is a movie that's in high definition here, but it never came to Blu-ray. To this day, it still doesn't have a Blu-ray. There might be a foreign one. Let me know in the comments down below if there is. This one in America, we only got this. And to have a working Warner Brothers title is few and far between. It got me thinking about that HTPC. Man, I could just rip my disc to this and then I can have it. I can have access to this. And it's just great. Now, they did have HD DVD burners, so you'd need that. But if you're just trying to back up DVDs and Blu-rays, most computers have either a DVD or a Blu-ray burner built in. A really, really simple thing you can do is the Plex server. Everything is attached to the Plex server and then streamed through other devices that are attached to your TV. I'm going to put links to everything that I used in the description down below. But I downloaded the Plex software, and that was just really easy. And then now the problem was, how do I back these up to the hard drive? There's a free software called MakeMKV. That was really easy. It is a little bit more technical. It was free. There are some pay programs that make the experience a little bit better, especially if you're converting TV shows and it's a one-time purchase. For me, this experience has been really easy. I'm very tech savvy, but when it comes to computers and printers, I feel like my grandfather who could never set his VCR. And every time the clocks would change, I'd have to go to his house specifically to set his VCR. And that's how I feel every time I have to mess with a computer. But I didn't have that experience with this. It was really simple. You download the Plex software, you can rip all your movies to your hard drive. They're like 25 gigabyte discs. You can run out of room really quickly if you're doing it in a 1-to-1 ratio, but you can compress the files down to like 1 gigabyte, 4 gigabytes, depending on what it is, using the Handbrake software. I do notice, whether it was a 1-to-1 or I did compress it, that the actual disc had a better picture, better sound. It was a nice uptick in quality, still watchable and enjoyable, and you still get an HD picture through the Plex server. The easiest way to find out how to name the files to make the whole thing work is go to the tbdb.com, type in whatever TV show or movie that you're trying to get. The Plex server will then be able to read this perfectly fine and display the cover art and the description and have everything in there properly. Now, the Plex server uses a ton of bandwidth, and if you don't have great internet, it's not going to really work the way it's meant to work. But if the computer is hooked up to a TV locally, you can use this other program. You don't really need internet for KODI other than that initial setup of your movies and TV shows. It'll scan the entire hard drive. It'll recognize every single TV show, every single movie, as long as it's labeled correctly. You don't need internet after that. And you can use this remote on the Plex server or the KODI program. It seemed to work interchangeably with no issues. And it was just great. I was able to have everything just nice and organized. Now, it took a little while to rip all these discs to the hard drive, so I'm never going to put all of my movies on the hard drive. That's not for me. I like picking these movies up off the shelf. I like looking at them, looking at the cover art, reading the back of them, and I like putting the disc physically into the player. The family thinks differently. They're not cinephiles. They don't love all these movies. These movies are really for me. These are the ones that I love. They have a small handful of movies like most people. Those are the ones that they go to all the time, and to have access to them in one location on the computer, it's much more convenient for them. They really like it. But then the idea of being able to back up certain movies like Dukes of Hazzard. If this disc starts to rot, I still have the physical media. It's just not playable anymore. Having the backup onto the computer, that's the whole purpose. It's a backup. That is what I like. So I've been able to put my favorite movies that I know that I can't live without, and I enjoy watching them no matter where I am. So I have a TV in my kitchen, and while I'm cooking or doing the dishes, I can throw on a TV show or a movie, and that is great. That experience is really awesome. Am I ever going to put all of my movies onto the hard drive? No, I'm not going to do it. For me, I'm always going to want to be able to take this movie off the shelf, read the back of it, actually remind myself what special features are there, have access to it that way. This is just always going to be my go-to. The Plex server is great for popping on a movie or a TV show while I'm working or doing something else to have as background noise. And it is the go-to for the rest of the family. They enjoy picking up this remote and just clicking the movie that they want to watch, the TV show they want to watch. And so for them, they love having it that way. We just had to use both the Plex server and the KODI server just to get the most out of this system. Let me know in the comments down below if you're going to try this out, or if you've done it before and the programs you're using. This is what I used, and this was my experience. You're going to want to click this video right here. With that, watch a movie today. I'll catch you guys next time.